Welcome to the wonderful world of how to proctor an SAT. 10 steps to completion, a new proctor training by Horizon Test Prep. Now I know you're probably sitting there going, what's going on? This is too much. But hey, we're here to make things simple, effective, and fun. Now as we go through this, we're going to show you really what's in the box you're receiving, how to proctor your own exam, and most importantly, how to pack everything up so we can collect it and take it back and score it to give you guys tons of wonderful data. Step 1. Locate your box on campus. Now, you may have multiple boxes on campus, so it's best to check with an administrator just to make certain that everything has been provided to you. Now, enclosed in that box, you will find 7 important key items for you and your students to create a successful environment for a productive SAT administration. First, your scan form. This is what the scan form, a little picture of what it looks like, but we'll provide you with some more guidance in some future slides. Second, your SAT exam booklet. This is labeled SAT number 1. This is the multiple choice portion of the test where students usually tire out, become exhausted, bubble in. This is that fun piece of paperwork that you'll be passing out in the beginning. Next, your SAT essay packet, obviously titled SAT essay number 1. This is where students will transcribe their actual essay, their writing portion of the exam at the end. So it's good to notice when you pass that out at the end. Second, your timer. Now, because you get these exams roughly a week prior to the administration, it's best to familiarize yourself with this timer. So that way you can feel confident and comfortable when setting the time. I know it doesn't sound like rocket science, and it really isn't, but sometimes it's easy to mess up. Pencils. Now there aren't a ton of pencils in the box, but you'll notice there are some pencils just in case a student forgot their actual pencils during test day. Every student was advised to bring 2 number 2 pencils and a calculator, but sometimes things happen, they forget, and we'll have them there just in case. Next are your proctoring instructions. Now, after this training, you'll feel more comfortable and confident when you're reading those proctoring instructions, but they'll be in the box for you as well as we'll email them to you prior to the exam. Now, the most important part of what is in this exam box is the student ID list. And I'll get to that in the next 2 or 3 slides, but just to kind of put that in your mind to think about. Step 2. Once the students arrive, they're all going to sit down eager to take this exam and really run with it. First thing you're going to do is pass out the scan forms. Now, it's important to know that every student will receive a 2-page scan form. Now, they're not glued together, stapled together, bound together. They are 2 independent scan forms, but you'll notice that at the top in the middle it says page 1 and page 2. Page 1 consists of section 1 through 3, and page 2 consists of section 4. Now, just to make certain that you just don't pass out 1 page of the scan form and the student goes, what's going on? So that's how you know. Now, the most important things, page 1 and page 2, students, the first thing they'll fill out at the top left, name, date, exam, which in this case, if it's the first exam, which it is 01, the instructor name, which is the proctor name, which is your name, and then the institution or school. Now, it's important to fill all those items out on page 1 and page 2 so they get credit. But the most important thing that you'll notice are 2 things that are circled here in the middle, which are on the top right of both page 1 and page 2. The test ID number and the student ID number. The test ID is only found on page 1, which is in this case 01, which you'll see it here in red. And then the student ID number, there are 6 spots for a student ID number. Now, it's important to note that this is not their actual school ID number. This is a pre-populated ID number, which I will show you on the following slide, that we've created for them for purposes of privacy reasons and not obtaining their actual school ID information. Now, the school ID information that we provide, or the student ID information we provide, is a 5-digit number, and there are 6 boxes. So a student may ask, why are there only 6 boxes? They don't need to put a 0. They just need to either start to the left, and there'll be 1 blank spot on the right, or start to the right, and there'll be 1 blank spot on the left. So there are 5 numbers for 6 boxes, there'll be 1 box that's blank. This is what the student ID list will look like. As I mentioned in the previous slide, there are 5 digits. Now, this is not their actual student ID number. You will receive 6 copies of this entire list to pass around in class, tape up on the wall, put near the door, pass it around, whatever you see fit for your class, just so the student can obtain this ID number for them. It's important to reiterate over and over and over and tell them, do not use your actual school ID number. Use this pre-populated ID number, which they will use, because some students will still, even after you tell them, put their own student ID number in, which we'll have to go back and there'll be an error in the system and correct it by hand. After the students have completed their scan forms, now you can get into the fun stuff. First thing is, you'll pass out the SAT number 1 exam. This is the multiple choice portion. First thing you'll do, pass it out. Have them put in their name, their first and last name, their date, their school name, and it's important to put their school name because they'll receive this booklet back in the class on day 1 if they were to take the SAT exam. Students can write in their test booklet all they want for math, reading, and writing. Just have them write in it. It's okay. This is their booklet, and you'll collect these at the end. And make sure, you'll notice this little red circle on the top right. Now, this isn't on the actual exam. This is just a sample picture, but we want them to put that 5-digit pre-populated Horizon Test Prep student ID number from the prior slide up there for purposes of, we know if there's 2 John Smiths, we know which one directly that John Smith will get their test booklet back, and so forth. Step 5, set your timer. Now, it's important to notice, as I mentioned in the beginning, that you'll have this timer about a week prior to. Get familiar with it. Even if it's on the day 1 of the actual test date, just look at it, be familiar. Set your timer to 65 minutes, which is section 1. And it's always good to provide students with a 5-minute warning at the end before the section is complete. For instance, at 60 minutes into the section 1, you'll let them know that there's 5 minutes remaining, just so they can tie any loose ends up. At this time, you can let students know, hey, we brought some pencils if you need any. However, they should have arrived with their own. But in this case, you can pass them out. Step 6, the rules. 3 important rules. Number 1, if a student arrives late, it's okay. They can come on in. Just have them start wherever they're at in that section. If they come in 10 minutes late into section 1, have them start in section 1. They just will not have any additional time at the end to make up that 10 minutes. So it's okay if they arrive late. Now, if they arrive way too late, then just have them complete the exam to their fullest and put a note on the top of their exam booklet. If a student has to use the restroom during the test, fine with us. Just have them get up, use the restroom. Now, if they leave and there's 25 minutes left in the section, but they come back and there's now 15 minutes left, they don't get an additional 10 minutes to make that up. They have to complete whatever they have left to complete within that 15 minutes. So they will lose the time while they're in the restroom. If a student has to leave early, say for instance if they don't complete section 4, that's fine as well. Just have them collect the information, the exam booklet as well as their scan forms, and put a note on front of the exam. While we like them to complete the exam to the fullest, sometimes things happen, but we'll reach out to them independently if we get a note from the proctor that says, hey, student had to leave early. And we'll reach out to them to either mail or have them at a different time complete the exam on their own. Step 7. After the actual multiple choice section is done, please complete the process of collecting the SAT number 1 exam booklet and the 2-page scan forms. Collect all that stuff and set it on your desk up front, because at this time you'll be getting the process of alphabetizing set up to run with. Now, before we get into the alphabetized part, which you'll see here in red, I want to show you the first step that will kind of branch into the alphabetizing process. The essay. So thus far, students have completed the scan form, you've passed out the exam booklets, they've completed the 4-section exam, you've collected all of the exam booklets that are now complete and the scan forms that are now complete. They'll stretch their legs for a few minutes, and you'll pass out SAT essay number 1 to everyone. Now, this is the 50-minute, or we call section 5, if you want to call it, 50-minute essay packet. This is where students will transcribe and write down an amazing, brilliantly written essay based upon the prompt in the actual passage. Now, once you pass this out, students will fill out their first name, the date, first and last name, the date, and the school. In the top right, just like the exam booklet, have them write that 5-digit number just for purposes of making sure they get credit for the appropriate essay. Now, once everything has been passed out, you'll have them start. Set your timer to 50 minutes and have them start. Now, this is where the fun for the proctor begins. Once the SAT essay number 1 begins, you'll have 50 minutes to do 2 important things. First off, the first important thing will be taking all of your completed SAT exam booklets and alphabetizing those. Alphabetize them from A to Z or by the numerical 5-digit ID number that the students are provided with. Next, you will take the student scan forms and do the same exact thing. But I want to make note, please do not staple the scan form number 1 and 2 together, because every student will be associated with 2 scan forms. Make sure as you're sorting the scan forms, don't separate scan form 1 and 2 into different actual packets. Keep them all together. So you don't have to have all of scan form number 1, page 1, and all of scan form page 2 separated. Keep them all together. After that, what you'll want to do is you'll want to basically double check to make sure that every student in your class bubbled in their pre-populated ID number on page 1 and 2 correctly. Because sometimes those students may put their actual school ID number in, so you'll have to erase that and go back and bubble it in correctly, just to make the scoring process simple. Now, once the SAT exams are placed in their own column by alphabetized, and the scan forms are sorted and alphabetized, by that time, the essay will be complete. You'll collect all of the essays, and you'll let the students go and depart on their way. You'll collect all of the essay booklets and alphabetize the essay booklets. Last part of this is you'll take that box that your materials came in. First thing you'll place at the bottom are the unused booklets. Second, you'll place the exam booklets, the multiple choice booklets that are completed in alphabetical order on top of the unused booklets. Then the completed essays that are alphabetized. And last but not least, your completed alphabetized scan forms, all in one packet on top of the essay packets. And then everything else goes on top, meaning the pencils, the timer, the proctoring instructions, any list that you've received will go right on top of that, and the box in your process, administration, everything is complete. And then last but not least, please take this up to the front office, or you can leave in your classroom until Monday, whatever's easiest, and we'll pick it up on first thing Monday morning. We'll have a representative from Horizon Prep pick up the box or boxes that have everything inside there. As I mentioned before, we truly appreciate the hard work you guys are putting in. We hope this presentation was simple enough to go through. The proctoring instructions will have a step-by-step as well in writing, but with this, any questions that you may have, please email us at info@horizontestprep.com or call us at 1-800-763-5780. We'll help you with anything that you may need, and we truly appreciate your hard work. Thank you.